Hello and welcome to FanCookingTastic. Today we're going to make something that is a fan and fam favorite, guaranteed to be eaten by everybody, no leftovers. Unless of course you need to make 2 or 3 of them, which sometimes happens depending on how hungry everybody are. The ingredients for today's episode: 1 package, 650 grams of traditional pizza dough, 1 red pepper, 1 onion, we're only going to use about half of that, 1 can of 213ml pizza sauce, some sprinkle of powdered garlic, cheese, lots of cheese, and some pepperoni and some bacon. Welcome to FanCookingTastic. Today we're going to be cooking an amazing meal, something pretty easy to do and everybody's favorite, especially near the end of the week, because there's always lots of leftovers to take to home, take to office, take to school the next day. And we've run down through the ingredients, but there's one I've got to get going. We're going to make pizza. We're going to make the pizza. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about pizza in a minute, but first we got to get some things cooking on the stove. So, hello, Fridge Cam. Today we're going to get the good old meat. Here we've got our meat, our pepperoni, very easy, and our bacon. Now with the pepperoni, we buy it in bulk. We don't buy just a little bit of it. We buy a huge bag, and you portion it off just ever so slightly. Put it in freezer bags, portion them off, about 4 portions, about 2 pizzas worth in a plastic bag. Put it in the freezer. Now the bacon, we cannot cook raw. That would be wrong. It wouldn't crisp up. So what we have to do is we have to come over here. I'm going to do our cooking, and we're going to be turning on our burner about midway, and we're just going to lay the bacon out into the pan and let it start cooking away. Some people get the pan good and hot first. I don't like to do that. It makes a lot of smoke, makes a lot of mess, and it's unnecessary actually with these no-stick pans, because you don't want them to get too hot without anything inside. They're wonderful if you look after them, but if you start to abuse them like anything, they start to degrade, and they don't do a great job anymore of cooking. So they lose their stick, they're non-stick. They become stick pans. I have a couple of those kicking around, and throughout the course of this show, you'll see our well-stocked kitchen when it comes to tools and when it comes to frying pans. Now, of course, always have to wash up our hands after touching the meat. Now, leave the pepperoni, because we don't want it to be cooked yet. All right, and so we let that bacon do its thing. We're going to bring the pepperoni back over here. Now, while the bacon's cooking, we're going to tell you a little bit about pizza. Pizza is a traditional Italian dish. However, only as recent as, I think it was something on the order of 997 AD, when pizza was first recorded in a document, a payment document, where someone was demanding payment for 12 pizzas, among other bits of food, on Christmas Day. It was the first time pizza seems to be recorded, and that was in the little town of Gaeta in Italy. Now, before that, there were records of pizza-like food as early as the 6th century BC, when what were they called? There were soldiers, and they used the pizza or the bread, and they laid it out on their shields, their battle shields, and put cheese and dates on that and cooked that. It wasn't called pizza, but it was a pizza-like food. So it certainly has very ancient origins, and if you think about it, it's extremely versatile. We take this dough, we just put whatever we want on it. Now that's the beauty of cooking with a pizza dough. You can plan it out like you have here, or you can simply put whatever you have in the fridge on it. So I'm going to check this bacon as it's already starting to sizzle, which is kind of nice. Now you're probably wondering, wow, why is he filming the cooking of bacon? Well, it's pretty mundane, isn't it? But at the same time, we got to get it separated. Now there's something fun. Bacon likes bacon. Oh, jeepers. Because the object here is to get these pieces cooking. And then we're going to break them into little squares afterwards. It's a little tedious to try and do that ahead of time. A handy dandy holder for the tongs that, just simply don't fit. But anyway, we'll let that bacon cook obviously a lot more. We're going to gather up our ingredients over here. So first, we're going to leave the dough. Now with the dough, this is interesting. So I haven't made any yet myself. I'm going to try once, but you can buy this in the store, frozen, as a frozen ball, which is odd because on the ingredient or on the back of the label here, it says explicitly, do not freeze. Anyway, you take it out of the freezer the day before, you put it in your fridge, and it slowly defrosts, and then for about the rest of the day, before you're going to use it, take it out and just let it dry in the air. Let it dry, like it's wet. Let it get warm. That starts to grow. This is about twice the size of it was when it was frozen. So we're just going to leave that to do its thing. Now, let's see. Bacon's cooking. That's a good thing. We can't do anything yet with the pizza dough. What we can do, though, is we're going to get the peppers ready. So I'm going to get another little plate. It's always handy to use a pile of extra plates. And we're going to get our nice cutting board. Always get lots of plates dirty. It makes for a nice mess, and it looks good. Now, we're going to get an extra plate because we're not going to bore you by wrapping things. But what we're going to use is half an onion, nice regular white onion. We're just going to use half the onion. Just cut it straight that way, not lengthwise, but across, and save the other half for another day. Always got a nice little green bin here off to the side, because here in Canada, as many places in the world now, of course, we recycle the food waste. So in the green bin that goes. And now this is where it gets fun. So you take your half of an onion and you cut it in half again across. So you want to make 2 half moons. And then just ever so carefully. Oh, wait a minute. There's a gadget I need. First, I've got to turn this bacon over. And then there's something, even though I have glasses on, we all know what happens with onions. And it looks like I've watched a sad movie. So, let's get this bacon flipped over here. There we are. Nice sizzling sounds. Okay. All right. We're going to actually just turn that down a little bit. Okay. Onions. Right. So, instead of crying like a baby, we're going to try out a new gadget. Onion glasses. They're really cool. They've got a little foam here, and they're supposedly keep the onion fumes away. So we'll see how it works. Now, when you cut the onion, don't cut it very fat. Don't cut it into squares. You want to do little curves. They're perfectly easy to put on a pizza. And you cut them really thin. So you're going to cut each slice, about, ooh, there goes a piece right now. About yay. Very, very thin. See? Yay, thin. And just sprinkle them out onto the plate. So be creative. This is the whole point of this, is to not be afraid of cooking. It's okay to make mistakes, and sometimes they just turn out to be absolutely tasty ones. Oh, we're not going to keep that. We're going to keep that. We're going to cut this in half. So with a pepper, you saw me take the lid off. Well, that's always handy, because then you can really get at the inside, get the pepper stuff out quite easily. It always helps just to leave your green bin open. But of course, it always helps too to take the onion glasses off. There we go. Check our bacon. You do want the bacon to get a little crispy. It will finish crisping when you put it on the pizza and in the oven, but we want to get it crispy here in the pan because we are not going to send the pizza to the sun and back like a lot of pizzerias do. They'll usually cook at a very, very high oven. Well, I don't do that here because I found it burns the living daylights out of the pizza dough. So we pre-cook our bacon. With the peppers, though, you want nice long pieces. All right, nice long pieces. I don't know if you can see me doing that. Nice long pieces. There, we'll check this camera too. Nice long pieces. Okay, but cut them thin again, like the onion. Okay, I'm pretty sure you can see here how thin. These are pretty thin. See, they're not very thick. You don't want thick things on a pizza. Peppers, garlic, yeah, okay, we're good there now. Got into the sink. Now come on over here. Hello, pan cam. And we'll check things out here. It's coming along nicely. We're going to dig another dirty plate, of course, because that bacon's going to come out really hot. We're going to want it to cool off. So we're going to plate it over here. Or maybe we'll just plate it over here. Who knows? No, we'll probably plate it over here. Anyway, some of it's almost ready. You see, so it's almost got a golden color. See? So we're going to just give it a little drizzle. Some people put these on napkins to really get rid of the grease. You know, a little bit of grease fat makes a pizza taste all that much better, don't you think? Okay, so we've got our, through the magic of our TV, I'm sure we'll probably speed this process up. Or you know what? Maybe, just maybe, we'll slow it down. I don't know. So cooking for me, so what is this show about? Let me tell you while I'm getting the rest of this bacon out. Cooking for me is a hobby, absolutely. And it's something I enjoy doing for myself, for people to come and eat and enjoy the food. And this show is me helping you do the same thing. It's important that we all have to eat, of course, but it's very important that you actually enjoy eating. And the moment you do that, the food actually gets a lot better. And it's always good to have adventures. And these are pretty safe adventures, just as long as you wash things and cook things, of course. Okay, so there is our bacon. And we're going to let that cool. We're going to set aside these veggies because we're going to need them pretty soon. So we got to work with this dough here. And while we're doing that, let's see, we're just going to let that cool down. There's something else we're going to need. And I didn't put it on our ingredients list, but everyone should have this in their kitchen. Nice handy dandy container of flour. All-purpose, regular white flour, nothing special about it. See? But it's essential because otherwise this dough is going to want to stick to this surface right here. So this is pretty much ready. I've seen other ones get poofed up before. I must say, I've bought this from Walmart, this pizza dough. They haven't paid for anything for this, so I won't mention it anymore. But then again, other stores also have this for sale. It's nice and poofy. Nice poofy poof poof. All right. Now, this is the ball of dough. So I bought it from other stores. Same thing, frozen ball, but you know, they don't expand like this. This is now about 2.5 times almost the size of the original frozen ball of dough. So we want to get our sauce. We're just gonna let that sit a little bit longer. We're gonna get our sauce open. This is again that store that I mentioned earlier that doesn't pay for any of this show. Well, not yet. Maybe one day. And this is also the cheapest way to buy the pizza sauce. These nice little cans. They're just under $1. And bacon's ready. While we're waiting, all you do is you break the bacon into little squares about this size. Nice little squares. And they're going to go all over the pizza. Now, if they turn out to be too big, then you're just going to have this giant piece of pork on a pizza, which is kind of gross. So, you break up all these little bacon bits. All these little bacon bits here. Make them into little squares because we're going to lay this all out onto the pizza. So, I'm showing you all of this because just so you have an idea of the prep work that's going to go into making the pizza. You do have to give yourself a little bit of time, but if you enjoy, this could be your little bit of piece of respite, maybe from a day, a hard day, or just maybe you want to get the whole family together and they too can help. They can cut up some of the things and maybe have some ideas of what to go on toppings. You know, oh, that was a really crispy one, wasn't it? Nice crispy bacon. Nice crispy bacon. Anyway, so we cut that up. There, we got a nice big mountain of bacon and pepperoni. All ready. Gonna wash our hands again, real quick. We're about to work with flour. And I'm sure in other episodes you're gonna see my hands all caked up with flour. That's because we're going to be making something with a dip. However, not today. Okay, so we take this and we're just gonna sprinkle it all over your counter. Your wife will love you for this because it makes a heck of a mess. But if you vacuum it up after and clean up, you don't tell her, she won't know. So you just roll your dough in this flour. There, a little bit better. So it's an experiment, isn't it? So here we're going to roll the dough around the thing, and because it's fluffy, it's also elasticy. Some people like to get out the rolling pin and try to roll it flat, but then it becomes too flat. So what I do is you can try the old-fashioned way, throw it, but then you have to do a good job of catching it. So I try to get in the middle and stretch it out. Try to imagine making a circle. You can make a rectangle. I used to make rectangles, and then I found this fabulous pan. It's a little bit more dough on it because it's going to get stickier. Sorry, not dough, flour. Work your way, stretching it open. So underneath, I'm stretching with my fingers, you see? Stretching. And then I'll sometimes just end up grabbing the edge because I got to stretch it out. But I don't want to make it too thin, and you don't want it to be unevenly stretched. That's the other trick. It's still a little bit elasticy, so we're going to put a little bit more flour down. While we're doing that, we're going to set an oven of, I go up to about 370. I go up to 385, actually. I can't go much higher. The pan won't take it, but you'll see why in a second when I use the pan. Okay, so you can try to flip it. I'm not a good thrower at all. Some guys twirl it. I don't know how these guys in the pizza shop do it, but I'd love someone to teach me one day. Maybe one of you viewers know how. Oh, bugger. I got a hole. So what we have to do is we have to mush all this back up and try again. Because the last thing you want to get is a hole in your dough. There, now. So that's getting a little thin there. That's why. So you can sort of roll it and mash it back together. Flip it upside down. There. Do the same thing. And don't stretch there anymore. Just grab it from the edge because we're getting a little thin here. So we just gotta stretch it in the edges, because if you don't, there's that hole again. Now that's going to be a problem. There, fold that up. If you don't stretch it enough at the edges, you're going to have a crust that's about 9 feet high. And that's no good either. So some of this, what to do with all this flour, remember, instead of blowing it all around the kitchen, which would be funny, just flour your pizza dish. and drag your pizza through it on the counter, lay it out on the pizza dish, and just sort of keep tugging away at the edges a little, being aware of our thin bit in the middle. Okay, not too thick, or no, not too thin. So you have this crust, and now do your best. I mean, I'm never going to get a perfect circle. You probably might not too. You might, and if you do, send me a picture. Okay, so there's our pizza. Now we got to get the sauce on. First, you just plop it on at willy-nilly here. There's no rhyme or reason to it. This is where the real art of making a pizza begins. So some guys will sing, la 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 la. I'm not going to, never mind. And it's kind of just spreading it around, making a nice mess of it. I'll get all the sauce out of your tin. And it generally takes one. I wouldn't suggest any more sauce than that because then it's too juicy. Well, there's a special ingredient that I haven't put on our list that I'm going to have to take a picture of after. This cheese. You can't have a pizza without cheese. How did we forget the cheese? Okay, well, we'll have to remember that. So there's our... Try to leave a little bit of a crust. Sort of spread that out evenly. There, good. Now, the secret ingredient, before you put anything else on, sprinkle garlic powder. You can buy the sauce with garlic in it, but one thing I like to have control of is my cooking. And I like to know what's going in my food. And so if they're putting in garlic powder, are they really putting in garlic powder? Are they putting in garlic salt? Like you want to be able to control what you put in your food, how much. Some people will put fresh crushed garlic, but that's enough. Just a haze, just a dusting. I'll put that back in the cupboard so I don't forget. And then we start building the goodies. So what do we put on first? Well, sprinkle the onions. Grab the onions. They just sort of go on all over. There's no rhyme or reason, but don't concentrate it all in one spot. We're not making a pure onion pizza, although given the amount of onion I've cut, you might be wondering. Well, but they cook up nice. There. Okay. See how random and willy-nilly that was. See how just spread out all over the pizza. No big deal. And now, what you might want to do is arrange, because you don't have too many, arrange the peppers a little bit, sort of around the circle. Again, not too much rhyme or reason. The best pizzas are those that are just tossed together. Remember, as I said, in the ancient times, they just made this bread and added whatever they had on hand to it. And that's the beauty of it. We'll maybe make several pizzas throughout this show. We'll see. But there's that stuff on there. Now, the meat. Wait. Yes, the meat, and then we'll do some cheese. Let's put the bacon on first because that is a lot. Same kind of thing though. You don't want to concentrate it, as tasty as it is. You don't want to have 6 pounds of bacon on one piece. Although, as I say, some people might beg to differ. They might like that. Okay. The pepperoni. I haven't put cheese on yet. Cheese goes on last, which we're going to get out of the fridge in a second. So, here's our pepperoni. So this is where you want to do some planning, because the last thing you want to do is run out before you've completed the circle. And you don't bring the pepperoni too close to the middle, because you'll have it all concentrated again, big pepperoni mountain. But what we try to do is we spread it out. Sometimes it doesn't want to let go. Spread it out, put it all over here. Now, we're getting near the middle, so what do? We're getting mountains of pepperoni. Okay, we probably have enough to start spreading it around the odd edge. Maybe we'll move some over. There you go, move some over. You just have fun with it. Just put it wherever you need it. There, done. Now, Wash the hands because we just touched the meat again. Sheesh. Really manhandling this meat here. I'm sure there's a joke in there somewhere. Whoosh. Okay, the oven has come up to temperature, but we got to get some cheese on there first, don't we? Yes. So reach into here. We're going to get some marble cheese and our handy cheese grater. I don't bother taking the time to grate the cheese ahead of time. I just grab the block. I'm probably going to use most of this block actually, and just sprinkle it all over. And you just grate. Just keep going. However much you like, because some people like gobs of it, some people don't. I wouldn't put too much because you know what's going to happen. It's going to weigh down the pizza, and then it won't get hard and crispy on the crust underneath. You kind of want it a little bit cooked underneath. All right, so let's see here. That's probably enough cheese. Oh, I can hear people saying, no, add more cheese. Well, okay, if you insist. You don't want to cover up all the meat. You got to leave some of it exposed, otherwise it's not going to crisp up. You cheesy people. Okay, so let's see now. That's probably got to be good. All right, just a little bit extra cheese. Pick it off the pan, otherwise you'll be forever trying to pick it off the pan later. And we're pretty much ready. So, that's a very hot pan. I better get my oven glove out. Now then, this hot pan here. Little tip, don't pour your bacon fat down the sink. Simply because it will end up clogging it. Trust me, we know. We've done it unknowingly for years. Now, you take a paper towel, this bacon fat's cooled, and you wipe out as much as you can from your pan, sop it all up, and it's going to go into your handy dandy green bin. Keep this in mind too if you're cooking with oil, like French fries and stuff. Don't put the oil down the sink. It'll end up clogging it. Wipe up as much as you possibly can, put it into your green bin. You'll do your septics, your pipes, everything a favor, and then just wash the pan up. You're ready to go. Easy as that. Now we're going to get our pizza into the oven. So it's all ready, topped, all set to go, all ready to roll. Let's get it in that oven. Nice oven. There's pizza coming in for landing. We're going to give that a 20 minutes on the oven. So you cook that for about 20 minutes and check it after the 20 minutes, which we're going to do through the miracle of TV. So see you in a moment. So we have 5 minutes left in the oven. Let's do a quick check and see how it's doing. See if we need a little more time or not. It sure smells good in here. So let's check in the oven. How's it doing? Oh, now that's looking pretty good. We'll give it the rest of the 5 minutes. Close it back up quick. We'll give it the rest of the 5 minutes, and then we'll go from there and we'll see how we're doing. Well, the oven is about to go beeping in about 3 seconds. That means it's ready to take out. So we're going to check this out of the oven with our trusty dusty little hand glove here. Turn the oven off, and we're just going to go for the, we'll call this the pizza cam, I think. That's what we'll end up doing. So here we go. We're going to get into the oven. We're going to check out this thing of beauty. Oh, look at that. Yes. That's a nice pizza, that is. Ooh, that's a big one. See how poofy it got. Got really poofy poof. But it's ready. And we can turn off the oven, of course. Cancel off there. That's a great oven or great pizza. Now we're going to need to get our obligatory fancy shot here. So let's see how that works. So the pizza is looking good. Here it is. The pizza's ready, and it's on our beautiful slow turny thing. We're going to try and get a beautiful slow motion shot of it. Look at how juicy cheese and the nice meat. You see how everything got all crispy? So it's quite good. There. Well, I think that's time to eat it. I think that is a done masterpiece. There's a little trick I developed here because you can't really cut on this tray. Whew, that's a hot tray. You'll end up scratching the daylights out of it. So we just use the upside down of one of these things. All right, we're going to gently and quickly, we're going to grab the pizza with one hand and we're going to lift it up all around. Oh, it's a little stuck. There we go. And we're going to just slide it on top. Oh, there. Perfect. There's another little handy gadget that we're going to get here too. We'll get our display thingy out of the way. Pizza cutters. Now, people get big ones, tiny ones. They get a mid-sized one. The way you can go either way. And so just grab a plate. And it's sat enough. You let it sit for about 3 or 5 minutes before you serve it, before you cut into it. It's apparently, quite hard work being in an oven. So we're going to cut this. Now you can be brutal. You can cut really hard on this surface. Grab the morsel. Oh, look at that steam. That's a very hot pizza. Move that piece aside because now everything you learned in math class becomes relevant. Cut this in half. Make a right mess of it, of course. Cut it in half again, each piece. And cut it again in half again, of course. Oh, hot, very hot. Spatula, where did it end up going to? Ah, here it is. Okay. So, here we go. We got a nice, hot, piping piece of pizza, which I think now that this camera is working, I can show it up close. Nice, hot, steamy piece of pizza. And there you go. Easy to make masterpiece in less than an hour's time, really, you'll find. But take your time too, because it can be pretty much fun putting this all together. It's kind of like an art piece, isn't it? And so it's time to feed some hungry tummies and ring the dinner bell because it's time to eat. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Leave me some notes, send me some messages, give me some ideas of things you'd like me to cook for you and help you learn how to cook. And tell me, what do you put on your pizzas? What are your favorite toppings? And let's find out. Thanks for watching FanCookingTastic. For more FanCookingTastic episodes, click these links that seem to be filling up my kitchen. And please like, comment, and subscribe.